Well, here we are, guys. We are at day 0, or day 3 more appropriately. So I'm uploading this a day late. I had done all the work to get this all squared away, but here we are. It's actually January 4th when you're watching this for the first time. Maybe. I don't know. Could be the 5th, could be the 6th, could be 2030, But anyways, we got another pocket change market report. Now is the time to strike. We have a fresh new year. We got 2024 coins on the horizon. It's a very important time of the year for those coins as we look to get our hunt on. The show circuit is busy right now. Florida Fun Show is happening as we speak. Today's the first day of the show. It's going into the weekend. It's the biggest show to kick off the year. So yeah, not only is the market starting to re-energize itself, with the show circuit happening. And of course, there's a ton of regional shows all across the country. I'll actually be going to one on Sunday. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. But this is the time that it's very important to understand that if you're going to kick off the year right, you got to get started now. All right. And a lot of that has to do with going to the bank. You're kind of priming the pump at this point, right? You're not only are you getting, boxes of coin or just rolls of coin, but you're also building that relationship with your bank teller or your branch manager in the hopes that you could get some of the first 2024 product out there. Now, traditionally, from what we've seen in years past, Lincoln cents and the first quarter usually comes out around middle of the month. All right, so we expect to see that again. I know a few people have been kind of like, they're actively pursuing it, but I'm telling you guys, there shouldn't be any 2024 coins out right at the moment. All right, shouldn't be. We haven't heard any reports of any of those being found in circulation. But why those are important is that folks want to be the first ones to have the rolls, the boxes, either to resell because, through the first week, we all know these things sell for probably a lot more money than they initially deserve. But also, they're looking for the brand new errors, the brand new varieties. And it all kicks off here in about 2 weeks. So make sure you're aware of that. Start developing relationships with your bank associates. And it's game on. Let's see what we can do in 2024. It's going to be a fun year. So Pocket Change Market Report. We have a nice laundry list of coins to talk about, all within the last 24 to 48 hours. And no graded coins. All right, we don't usually cover that. We got a little bit of a calendar of events. We have a pretty action-packed month of January. All right, so there's going to be at least 2 sales per week, maybe even a third. We'll see. But the Friday show, incredibly important to know that we have the Vault Box Series 5 pre-launch. All right. So we have Vault Box merchandise that will be given away. We have exclusive Vault Box coins that we'll be giving away this Friday, January 5th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And let's not forget that we're also going to have a full coin auction as well. So come check things out. If you haven't signed up yet, I'll have my referral link down below in the description box. I'll even probably pin it into the comment section so that way you guys can sign up. You'll earn yourself $15 in store credit to use right away on your first purchase. So that's kind of like a pretty important event coming up here on Friday. And then we have 2 other shows already set up for next week. We have a Tuesday kind of like bargain box kind of show for a lot of you that want to get into the hobby but want to stick to lower value items, that are pretty safe bets. We'll have that as well on Tuesday. And then Friday we'll have a normal just show with US type coins and bullion and paper money. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into some of these auctions. We're going to start things off here with a 1990 Philadelphia Candy half dollar. This one is phenomenal. And it's my understanding that more of these are being found in these half-dollar roll boxes that people love hunting through for silver. I mean, that's kind of like the big thing. For whatever reason, these things are already popping out everywhere. There was like 2 or 3 1990 candy half dollars that are all very similar to this one. They're all either struck off center, out of collar, or they're broad struck. Here's yet again another example here. I talked about one like this, I think a week or 2 ago, that sold for a bunch of money. This one right here is slightly off center by about 10%, maybe a little less than that, but nonetheless, really good sale, $85. Please do keep this in mind. These larger denomination coins that are a little bit off center or broad struck are worth a boatload of cash. All right, they're nothing like the Lincoln cents that you can find that are very similar offset like this. It's just these are a lot more scarce to find, and because of that, collectors embrace them a little bit more, and they're willing to throw extra money to them when they pop up in the marketplace. Next one that we have here, I'm willing to bet that probably, I want to say 100%, but realistically, 99.9% of you probably don't even know this coin even exists. And I'm glad that Brian Rybar, who's one of the big nickel attributors, also sells varieties on eBay. He had this 1946S Lincoln wheat cent. This thing is, I forgot that this one even existed. I haven't searched or looked for this one in quite a while. But this is a doubled die. This is DDO number 1. And it's not the most impressive, but when you look at the date, specifically the 1 and 9 in the date, you're going to see this kind of doubling here. Brian did a upstanding job with the arrows and really marking what you're going to be looking for on this variety. So this one ended up selling for $13.90. It doesn't seem like a whole lot, but if you can imagine coming across a few of these and you pay a quarter for them because they're in really nice shape, then you could turn around and flip these for a pretty generous amount of money. And as we all know, the reason why I do these videos is to help amplify the importance of the secondary market, not only to collectors, but also to resellers who are looking to kind of make this supplemental income when their regular 9 to 5 isn't quite, pulling in all the weight. So this is a great way of doing this. Just simply identifying it. If you have access to a coin shop or a show, odds are that you're going to find a fair amount of nice high-end BU Lincoln wheat cents for a relatively inexpensive price. Again, 1946s, you could buy them easily for under $1. And you shouldn't have to pay more than that for this very common date. So what we have here, we all know this one, but let's kick off the year by recognizing the In God We Rust Kansas State Quarter. These are all Philadelphia 2005s. So the pictures, as you could tell, and of course we're all getting photography lessons here, kind of like do this and not do that type scenario. The pictures are just okay. They could be better. They could be a little bit more in focus. They probably don't need to be as dark. Good rule of thumb: if you have good natural lighting outdoors, take your coin outside and take a picture of the coin that way. So that way you get more of the natural light, and you don't have to rely heavily on desk lamps and things like that. And you're just gonna get better results. So the close-up, not too bad. We could tell that there's a filled die issue with that first T in the word trust. And that's how this namesake of this coin head came to be, was just that particular letter. Once it's removed out of the equation, you have a word that goes from trust to rust. And yeah, these are collected. There's a group of folks out there that love having these. They're not going to pay through the moon for it, but this example sold for $6. Now, as a counterpoint, there was a second one that sold literally moments after that other one sold. Now, The photos are a little bit better. I don't have a close-up, but you can see that the T is missing in trust on this one, even without a close-up. This one, however, sold for $24.13. And I think because of the photos showing the original surfaces of the coin, which, don't get me wrong, the coin is still a little bit circulated, but this one has a much more natural look to it. And both coins were purchased as buy it now listings. So maybe that $6 one might have been underpriced. Maybe this one right here is overpriced, but what we do know is both coins did sell within moments of each other. First piece of paper, and we do have some paper today, folks, so always be on the lookout for these little minor errors that you could come across on your paper money. 1977A $1 bill. We have here a little bit of a misaligned sheet print, where the sheet was slightly misaligned, or it wasn't perfect. Let's put it that way. When the second base print of the front of the note was applied, the sheet was shifted a little bit. The overprint looks perfectly fine for the centering of the note. When we look at the back, good margins here, nothing of note. So a little minor misalignment. This one sold for $20. It's one of the lower price sales I've seen of a misaligned print. These generally average $50-$60. This one is a little bit minor, and in some it kind of looks like a miscut. So, what we have coming up here is the 1993 Lincoln Memorial Cent. Now, you'll notice a substantial amount of weakness in the strike, and that's all attributed to the strike through of grease. There was some grease on the dies. As part of the lubrication process, you got to make sure that the mint presses are working at its optimal level. So you're tightening the screws, you're applying the grease to the squeaky wheel, and, to the dies. The dies get a healthy amount of grease because, they work. They do a lot of movement. There's a lot of friction involved. And those particular things, they are subjected to wear and tear. So when there's grease on the die and it strikes through on a coin, it's obviously not going to strike up all of the devices, as you see here on this one. So the coin sold for $14.13. That's a really regular kind of sale for something like this. But if you do come across it, don't toss it back. These have some value to them. Pretty cool one here. Occasionally we'll toss in, an older coin to help illustrate and highlight some of the possibilities of what you can find out there in the world today. This is an 1889 Indian head cent. This is like one of my favorite designs of any U.S. coin. This one right here is designated as being a misplaced date and a repunch date. It's also cataloged as Snow number 4. The coin sold for $89.44. So what exactly are we looking at here with this one? So when we look here, you can see the double punched 9 in the date. And you could also see right here in between both dates in the denticles, the top of another 8. All right, so that's your misplaced digit. This is your repunch date with a 9. You see this more commonly on Indian head cents, and the big reason why is mint employees used to punch numbers into certain areas of the die to test the hardness and softness of the die itself. So they'll punch it into an area that's rather crowded, like the denticles. You'll see them sometimes in the hair or bottom of the bust. You'll see them in the beads right here, which is another common spot. But we saw those quite a bit back in the later 19th century, from about 1850s all the way up to the 90s. So this one right here, $89 sale. That's really good, considering that you could buy the coin for around $20. It's a really nice, I would say, AU 55 level grade coin. Common date, by the way, even though it's an 1880s, this is a very common dated coin to go along with some of the other ones from the early 1900s. Our first lot of the year is a lot of 5 off-center struck coins. You have a couple coppers in there and a couple zinkins. So that's worth noting. A pair of 81s. It looks like there's a few 83s in there. This could be an opportunity for someone to swoop in, buy this, and resell them. Because when people sell in bulk like this, they're willing to accept a little bit cheaper price. All right, so keep that in mind. It's always good to target bulk or lots if it makes sense. You want to make sure that you're doing your research. You're finding out how much these coins sell for, how quickly they're being sold, and then price them accordingly. The two 1981s you see there, realistically, I'd probably sell those as a buy it now for $24.99, and then all the others would probably be around $19.99. All right, so I can make it about $110 here on this. However, it's sold for $84.15. It looks like it was a buy it now rip, and that's kind of high. I've seen other similar lots sell for about $25 less than that, at $60. That's more of an attractive price for these. Now, you're going to notice that one of the off-center strikes has a missing reverse on it. They call that a uniface. And that's simply, that's a byproduct, and you'll notice that it's a blank planchet on the reverse, which is quite neat. So there were a couple of planchets that were overlapped on top of each other, thereby creating this pretty phenomenal event that you see there. But all the other ones are really nice as well. So yeah, $84 for this lot. Pretty nice one here, 1935E, $1 silver certificate with a couple gutters in there. You got a really nice wide gutter fold on the left side, and then you have one that goes right down the middle of the portrait. So this sheet obviously had a few wrinkles that was printed over, and this is kind of like your end result here. When we look at the reverse, you're going to see that there's no gutters. You can actually see the wrinkle of where that gutter is going through the portrait. And at some point, when the reverse was printed, a BEP employee did recognize the wrinkles in the sheet, tried stretching it out a little bit, and it did print proper on the reverse, but on the front, the wrinkle kind of reset itself, and that was that. $120 for this one. Anything more than one gutter on a note will make the note worth a lot more than a traditional single gutter fold. Our first improper alloy mix is what it's called. These are also affectionately referred to as woody coins. You can find them on Lincoln cents and nickels specifically. So this is a 1936 Lincoln wheat cent. Pretty nice wood graining here on this. The little bit of zinc or tin didn't quite mix up too well in the copper. Don't know if that's a carbon spot or just some foreign substance that's very superficial on the coin on the reverse. But this one sold for $16. I would say keep an eye out on woodies. These things are beginning to kind of slowly trend upwards. These used to be $2 or $3 all day long. But I think more people are getting into collecting date sets of these. Plus, there is a pretty nice attractiveness and artistic level of satisfaction with these wood grains that people love. Our next piece of currency, this thing is a major error. This one has an inverted overprint. So the overprint was upside down, printed on this. But what really gets me on notes like this is the level of circulation wear. Like anybody who has ever touched money will look at this and know that something is definitely wrong with it. So I was kind of taken by surprise by the fact that this note has probably passed through a few 300 or 400 people before it was finally identified. When we look at the back, it's a very normal reverse on this thing. $372.70. Again, I mean, this is proof in the pudding here. It's not graded. You don't have to grade stuff like this if you don't want to. That's like full bore market for this note in this condition. We also have this 1985 $10 bill, a slightly very small back-to-front wet ink transfer. You can see that on the bottom left corner here. Nothing too crazy, nothing really to write home to mother about, but this one actually, A little bit of a shocker at $65. So someone did pay a little bit of money for this one. I've seen similar ones sell for about $30 to $40 with that small wedding transfer. But yeah, it's just blows my mind that something like this still exists out there in the world today. And all it takes is a little bit of good looking. 2004D Roosevelt dime. This one is a nice, slightly off-center Broadstrike error, out of collar. All right, so when there's no collar to hold the coin in during the strike, all that metal flow goes outwards. This one right here sold for $12.95. Not a crazy sale, but it's worth noting that if you did come across one of these, that it is worth a little bit more than 10 cents. 2017 A $1 bill. This was kind of like a hot topic the last couple years, and we have another one that did pop up. This one is what they call an inkwell contamination error. So when you look at both sets of serial numbers, you'll note that one is green. It's the perfect green for the note, but when you look at the bottom left serial number, it's almost black. All right, so some of the ink from the black district seal well ended up leaking through into the green ink. So now we have like a kind of like an evergreen, pine green type of green where it's like almost black. And that is the inkwell contamination. Now, grading companies do attribute this as inkwell contamination, like PMG and PCGS banknote. They do that. So this is a legit error, but we've only been seeing this on much newer notes that bear the 2017 A date. Even 2013, we've seen a few of those as well. $56.13 with 10 bids. The word is out. People do know about this, and they're paying on it like it's a legit error. And it is, too. There's a little bit of the back showing a good amount of circulation wear. All right, so for all you candy roll hunters out there, make sure you flip over those 82s, 83s, and 72Ds. There are other dates that have the missing FG initials on the back. This is yet again another great example, and one of the tougher ones too. So this one, Frank Gasparo's initials right there by the Eagle's tail feathers, completely abraded away or over polished. This one right here sold for $16.63 with 3 bids. This is like an auto include into your hunt list because it's worth way more than a 90% silver half, which is what you hope to find out of a candy box. And it's worth about 40% silvers, so quite a bit of value here. You could always sell this thing and buy silver. That's a great way of doing it. A little bit out of focus. A very interesting kind of display here. This thing I think was sitting up. It's got a few pegs there. It's pretty neat. The coin has some color, which is kind of interesting. It's a 1997 Philly Lincoln Memorial Cent. This is actually a very big variety. This is the doubled die obverse FS 101. This one sold for $42 with 2 bids. And you can see the strong doubled earlobe on this. It's very unmistakable, and you can only find this on the 97 Philly. Again, Cherry Picker's Guide variety, incredibly valued. The nicer the condition, the more that these are worth. Here's a 2000 Lincoln Memorial Cent. This one, just a really nice, healthy Broadstrike. Very well centered, very nice condition. And this one sold for $29.79. It was a buy it now rip. There's a little comparison just showing the size difference between the Lincoln Cent and the nickel. Pretty close to size. Here's one that if you're a hunter of big batches of wheat cents, you might come across something like this. This is a 1919S Lincoln wheat cent with a lamination. It's got a lamination error right there by the date. It's very nice and flaky, like grandma's biscuits. That's what you're going to be looking for. So again, we had impurities during the mixing process. These are, in a way, defective planchets when you look at it. And, they circulate for many years. You can actually take that and peel it back. And, You're not supposed to do that, but I'm just saying you can do that. That's how flaky these are. $15.98 was the sale on this, and it's a very common error too. Now, this is pretty. This is a 1988A $20 bill. Very nice note here, as you can see. Very, very nice. It doesn't look like anything from the front when you flip it over, and this is about all of the reverse image that the seller had put on there. So if you're selling currency, guys, put the whole note there. A partial wet ink transfer front to back on the left side. It's very light. And this one sold for $66.82. We also have this 1977 $5 bill here. A nice older small head design. Normal looking front. And on the reverse, we have a little bit of a wet ink transfer as well. And yeah, pretty cool here. This one sold for $81.25. Very nice high-grade example. And probably one of the biggest transfers I've seen here in the last day has to be this 1977 $20 bill. This thing is massive. So you have nearly a full 100% back to front wet ink transfer. It's a very vivid dark ink too on that green. Which would indicate that this might be what they call first blush. You know, it's the first contact of a sheet with a fresh transfer, just showing some of the strength of that. This one, $349. If you're thinking that's a lot of money, it is. That is a little bit beyond what the market is for a partial. You can see on the bottom right corner, it is missing a little bit. That's it. That's the kind of money that you would pay for one that is a full 100% transfer. But very nice. This is a really crazy looking note. And there's a little bit of the reverse, showing just overall a very clean, crisp, and circulated example. And coins and cards, we always have to throw one of his listings in here because they're all quite amazing. 1928D Standing Liberty Quarter is more than just a pretty face. This is a really nice, I would say, borderline slider AU58, mid-state 60, 61 level of coin. This is a variety. This is a good variety here. This is a nice RPM. These pictures do not do it justice, but it's a D over D RPM. This one sold for $235, and that's with 31 bids. So again, another very strong showing from Coins and Cards. And yeah, he sells coins daily. All right, so if you're looking for a nice raw example of something that you can be proud to own in your collection, go check out his listings. We also have this 1951D Lincoln Wheat Cent. It's off center by about 15-20%. I did not rotate the reverse. It is not a rotation error aside from the off center strike. It's just the way the picture was taken. This one right here, $51.02 with 8 bids. Again, it's a very nice example, devoid of any carbon spotting or any issues like that, which is commonly seen on these. And probably the best and craziest error that we're going to talk about today is this fold over error on a 2003A, and it was printed over. Pretty easy to diagnose here. And it's always very dramatic when, you leave it folded and then take the photos. It just does wonders here with this. And there's the back showing the fold over as well. And, it looks pretty nice and normal until you unfold it. So this one right here sold for $499. All right, which is on par with what foldovers normally go for. They actually go for a lot more than that, depending on how crazy the foldover is. And if you're into paper money errors, this is just a dream for a lot of collectors. And we also have a 1917 Lincoln Wheat Cent. This one, as you can tell, is the FS101 double the die obverse. We all should be looking for these if we're hunting through batches of wheat sets. If you're not playing the game correctly. And this one, it's not the best of shapes either. So you know, this is a testament that you could find anything in any grade and they'll still be worth something. Kind of like at this grade level where it's, you know, low enough grade, you can look at In God We Trust and you can see some of the doubling. It's not too crazy. The date, it's where it's at. You can see the doubling on the 1, but you can see the double tail on the 9. All right, that's kind of like one of the nice markers about this. The top thick hat of the 7 as well is also another good indicator. This one right here in this condition, $56.25, 27 total bids. This is a coin, my friends, that as recently as 5 years ago in this condition, it was a $15, $20 coin. And then now they're a lot more than that. The market realizes that there is a need for lower grade specimens, as the higher grade stuff is just way too out of reach. And the final coin on this first edition of the PCMR for 2024 has to be this very nice off-center Roosevelt dime. 1997P is the date. It's off-center by about 45-50%, somewhere around there. Very attractive coin, lots of luster. And this one sold for $72.30 with 23 total bids. Again, off-center struck Roosevelts are quite scarce. And, you know, especially one that looks like this with a lot of design and a full readable date and mint mark are prime targets in the market. All right, that's going to go ahead and wrap things up for this one, folks. Again, videos for entertainment purposes only. This is not financial advice. Please do collect and grade responsibly. And that's it, ladies and gents. I'm Sean with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy today's content. This will ensure that I can do more videos and you will gain first-hand access to those new uploads. We're going to have a rockin' 2024, and I hope to see you guys here on the ride each and every single month. That's it, guys. I'm out of here. Happy hunting. Enjoy the hunt, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.